I'm not afraid of the dark. I'm afraid of what's in it. Why now? Why, after 20 years, the forgotten memories of those events, which I tried so hard to put out of my mind, came back to me? But that's not the worst part of the story. No, it's not the memories that are scary, because they've started to come along with them. I feel them. They are at night. I hear their laughs, whispers. I feel them in my gut, very close to me. I do not remember how long I sleep with the light on, but it does not affect the situation as a whole. They came for me, to take me with them where I belong, because then, 20 years ago, I shouldn't have survived. I think back, the distant year 2003. I lived in a village which was located a few kilometers from the capital. No, not a village. You can say, a village of urban type. But that's not the point. I was 12 at the time. My friends and I entertained ourselves as best we could because at that time there were no such advanced technologies as now, so everything that was possible, starting with soccer and ending, so to speak, with the study of abandoned places. Because there were plenty of them then, because, well, the collapse of the Union and so on. There was no one to build, to bring to completion, or even just to demolish unnecessary structures. Or finances did not allow, and therefore many of them stood for a long time without use and meaning. Some of them are still standing in proud loneliness, watching their empty dark window cavities, remembering the old days when mankind made grandiose plans and life was boiling in the buildings themselves or near them. The events that took place were connected with one of the previously mentioned abandoned buildings, and to be more precise, a 17-story building located several hundred meters from the shore of a huge body of water. It is not difficult to guess that the soil was unsuitable for such structures, so the building slowly began to subside, bogging like a swamp under the influence of its own weight. A lot of legends and fables people made up about that place. Allegedly, there are serial maniacs, monsters, demons, and the like. But did that ever stop us? Memories are so clear and crisp, as if not in my head, but watching them on TV. Every detail, every word spoken, timed to the minute. I remember literally everything that happened on that unfortunate summer day, which certainly raises a lot of questions. Why so and why after a long time? August 20th, 2003, 4 o'clock in the morning. I'm ready. I'm standing at the well with my backpack behind my back, next to my faithful horse, Desna bicycle, the dream of teenagers of that time. I am waiting for my friends, with whom, in fact, we had discussed the time and place of the meeting beforehand. Here they are, Sanyok, Pashka, Sergey, and Kolyan. Ready? Sergey asked, not getting off the bike. Always ready, we answered with a chorus, then immediately set off on the road. It should be said, from our place of residence and to that abandoned, about 16 kilometers, from which our way became very interesting. Distillation, illegal collection of other people's grapes, walnuts, and everything that was badly laid. Not scorned, even non-ferrous metal. Yes. In those days it was not bad, and even say, the main way to earn money for us. Our plans included the following: to get to the lake, to fish until it starts to get hot, to swim properly, and only then we could go to a cooler place, to the gut of a giant concrete building. I will not tell you the whole process of fishing and other things. I will go straight to the point, to where it all started. To get into the building itself, you had to climb through a window or balcony, because the basement and the first 2 floors were completely out of sight, buried entirely in the soil. Once inside, we began to discuss where to go next, to go up to the top or go down in the basement itself, where, according to experienced guys, there is an atmosphere of fear and hopelessness. Well, what is there to do in that cellar? Pashka snapped at my suggestion. The top floor is another matter. The view is amazing. Everything is just like in the palm of your hand. The lake, the fields with no end or edge, the blue sky all around, as if you could feel the fluffy clouds just a little bit more. Isn't it wonderful? Posh, we've been up there 100 times already. Aren't you tired of the same thing? I don't argue. Of course it's fascinating, but let's fulfill Vask's dream this time, because he's been asking to see the basement for ages. But we put it off for the next time, especially we have everything with us. Flashlights, spare batteries, food, water in plenty, warm clothes just in case. As if God himself made it clear that today is the day, Sergei said and smiled broadly, and the rest of us laughed. That was the end of it. Step by step, lighting the way with a lantern, looking at various obscene inscriptions and drawings on the walls, trying not to make much noise. We went down, approaching the goal. I don't know, and I can't say why I was attracted to such places. Dark, gloomy, closed, because many people tried to avoid such places, but not me. 3 floors down, we were faced with a very sad sight. Pieces were literally falling off the wet concrete walls, exposing the rusty rebar. On the ceiling, large drops of condensate were accumulating, which not often, but still came down, falling on our heads or over our necks. The concrete floor was also littered with pieces of concrete, construction debris, empty bottles, and the like. We fell silent and began to listen. Grave silence and coldness reigned in that place, with only the occasional sound of droplets falling on the concrete floor, breaking the stillness, causing us to involuntarily turn back, as if disturbed by something. After 40 minutes of walking through the rooms, as if through a maze, we began to realize how huge it was, as it would not take 15 minutes to walk completely from the first wing of the building to the outermost one. It was checked. The further we went into the bowels of the basement, the more we realized that none of us could remember which way was the exit. So we trapped ourselves in a godforsaken place. "Are we done playing?" Poshka said angrily. "Don't grumble, it's all right. It can't be this basement so big that we can't find a way out," answered Sergei, but in his voice no longer felt the former confidence. It was noticeable that the guy is nervous, as well as all the others. "We need to go back. The exit is behind us. We came from the other side, I remember exactly." Kolyan intervened in the conversation. "What do you think, Vas?" Sanyok asked a question, illuminating the corridor in front of him, cutting through the thick darkness with a flashlight beam. "I agree with Kolyan. Something tells me that the exit is there." I pointed the flashlight beam in that direction where I thought the exit was, but how wrong I was. "Then let's not waste time. Let's get out of here. Let's not come here again," Poshka added, and then we set off, hoping to find the exit as soon as possible. The Montana clock made us realize that we had been wandering through the dark corridors and rooms for more than an hour, but the exit had not been found. The guys were quite nervous. Someone was on the verge of hysteria. But what happened next? There is no logical explanation. In an instant, everyone's flashlights went out at the same time, leaving us alone with the frightening darkness. Everyone in a panic attempted to replace the batteries, but it had no effect. The lanterns simply refused to work. Panic set in. Remembering my Nokia 3310 cell phone, I frantically pulled it out of my pocket and lit the space in front of me with it. From the whole group, now there were only me and Sergei. "And where is everyone else?" I asked, looking around. "Are you asking me?" "I was trying to fix the lantern, and then you turned on the phone. And there was no one. There was a scraping sound nearby, as if a sharp object was scratching the walls. When we turned around, we noticed that someone's eyes were glowing red in the darkness. We looked at each other, and without a word, we both ran wherever we were going, trying to stay together and not lose sight of each other. We ran for a long time, stumbling over debris, falling, getting up, and helping each other. Someone was definitely following us, and that someone was trying not to give himself away, except that his heavy footsteps echoed throughout the corridor. He kept the same distance, neither approaching nor lagging behind. At one point, I grabbed my friend by the sleeve and pulled him into one of the rooms, and then both of us held our breath and listened. Whoever was following us froze in place. We sat in complete silence for a while, but soon there was a scraping sound, very close by. Having breathed a little and gained strength, we again rushed in an unknown direction under the dim light of the phone. The endless, unknown for what purpose rooms, long endless corridors, darkness and footsteps, which did not lag behind for a moment, all this drove us crazy, and, it seemed, when we had already lost all hope of finding a way out, it appeared before us. It is not clear how, but we managed to run to the stairs leading to our salvation. As we started climbing the stairs, I accidentally dropped my phone from my hands and it rolled down. "I'll get it," shouted Sergei, and then began to climb back down, trying to catch it. "Leave him alone. Let's go," I replied, but he only continued his descent. When he picked up the unbreakable phone from the floor and illuminated the space in front of him, we both screamed. Standing to his side was something huge, 2.5 meters, if not more. In his hand was a big cleaver, with which he in one movement separated the head from the body, and then the breathless corpse of my comrade fell to the floor, still clutching the phone in his hand. The creature turned its head in my direction. I could tell by the glittering eyes that I hadn't noticed until then. I screamed even louder and ran up the stairs as fast as I could. When I got to the 3rd floor, now the 1st floor, I jumped out the first window without thinking about the consequences, which could have been bad, because there was construction debris, bricks, iron, and other things everywhere. But I was lucky at that moment. I returned home safely, but my friends... Naturally, after those events, there was an investigation. I was questioned, and not once, but who would believe my words and statements? My friends were never found, neither dead nor alive, although they combed the whole building. As it turned out, the basement, according to the law enforcers, was not so big as I told them, just a few rooms and a corridor connecting the 2 wings with the main building. I still can't stop thinking, what kind of place was this, where we got to? A parallel world, other world, an anomaly? I guess none of that matters anymore. I would give anything to change the outcome of those events, to get my friends back. I would give anything to never be in that cursed place. For a long time, I couldn't sleep at night. I had dreams of my comrades calling me. I was afraid of the dark. I slept with the light on. Thanks to a long and hard work, I still managed to force myself to throw the memories of those terrible events out of my head. I'm still afraid of the dark. I don't remember when the memories came back, but I began to feel them along with them. Now I realize it's not the memories that came back, it's my friends. They come at night, calling me to play with them, to explore abandoned places, urging me to go to that building by the lake, because it still stands there, beckoning me. My friends, they look the same as they did then, haven't changed a bit, still the same boys, mischievous and fun. I'm ready. Backpack packed. I tidy up the bicycle that has been stored for a long time in the shed. The time is 3 in the morning. In an hour, I'm leaving. My comrades, Sergei, Kolyan, Senyok, and Pashka, are waiting for me. I am no longer afraid of the dark.